If it's, since I'm ready, I thought I'd spill my coffee. So. Mike, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Just checking. In that case, I'd like to call the Transportation Committee meeting for June 20th to order and ask for a roll call. And for that to stop.
Berman,
Here.
Iqbal,
Present.
Vice President.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Roth,
Roth here.
Ford,
Ford present.
Doherty,
Already online.
Davist.
Devastator.
You have a quorum.
Okay. All right.
Chairman, I would ask for
I waited
unanimous.
as long as I could. for you to
I
get-
got to pause. This Caius, I would ask for unanimous consent for the approval of the minutes for May 16th, 2023. So without objection,
Any objection? Hearing none? No. We will accept. That's your motion or a suggestion?
it's a motion. Request
It's a motion, right?
unanimous.
The response is without objection, so ordered.
Thank you.
There's-
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yeah.
That feels,
Now that we're figuring out how to use that, I need to know the appropriate response to it.
that feels satisfying. If it's
Yeah, that was
satisfying.
good, yeah. I'll probably forget by next month. But we'll keep trying. Any public comment this morning? All these nice spaces out there. Nobody wants to talk. All right. On to finance. Kathy?
The monthly finance reports are in your packet. If you have any questions, let me know.
It gets off too easy.
Well, give her a question. No? All right. No questions. Moving on. Bill? What's that?
Sure. Morning.
Morning.
Maintenance memo is in the packet. If it's nice, normal routine. So any questions on that?
Routine's good. We like routine.
For maintenance, routine is always good.
No surprises. That's the way to go. All right. Are we we have two new applicants for Adopt a Highway.
Yep,
And,
for Adopt a Highway, glad to see our program increasing with, got two new applicants. One is on Randall Road and the other is Burlington Road.
Okay. And both new, not renewals. Thanks. All right. Seeking a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I move that and then I have a question also.
Coming right back to you. So we have a motion
I'll second it.
and seconded by Mr. Ford. Bill?
Yes, I just wanted to ask a question of personal interest. I noticed one of the applicants is Javed Iqbal. Is that any relation to Dr. Iqbal?
No.
No.
Judging
No.
from the surprised look on his face, it was that, no. Okay, any other questions? All right. Those things, please call the roll.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Present. Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Yes.
Davin,
Have us, yes.
passes.
Okay. All right. Talk to us about truck body equipment packages, Bill.
I don't know if you want to take the next two together or you want to keep them separate. One's the patrol trucks and the other is the dump trucks. Similar pieces of equipment, but some of you are more familiar with our patrol trucks. It's the 1 ton you see with the broom on the front. So it has a lot more equipment on it and so it's a higher price, but we put them out for bid and low bid was Lenco. And on the dump bodies, it was for the regular dump trucks, same. Lenco was also the low bidder, approved bidder, and so staff is requesting committee approval on these two.
All right.
Roth will make a motion.
Are you moving them both
Move it.
together?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Leonard
And
seconds.
Leonard seconds. Any questions, comments on? Yes, Bill.
Thank you. Yeah, Bill, one question. Are there any trade-ins on this or are we auctioning off that equipment or what's going on with the
So
equipment being replaced?
in this situation, we'll be selling them through auction, through the purchasing department. Once we get the new body, the completed trucks, then we will strip the old ones and then sell them. Sometimes we trade. It just depends on how we make the purchase. So the chassis, cabin chassis, you guys have already approved them and they were a purchase through a joint agreement. And now these are the body packages. So they will be, going up for sale here as soon as we're done with the new ones.
Thank you.
Good question. All right, any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Claudia, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Ford, Doherty,
yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
both pass.
All right. Seems like an odd time to talk about snow plows, but gotta be ready.
Winter stuff never seems to drop out of our conversation. So these are for 3 snow plows for our big plow trucks, nothing to do with our patrol trucks. Low bidder on this that met our requirements is Bonnell Equipment, and staff is requesting your approval.
Roth will make a motion to move it forward.
Thank you, Mr.
Just a
Roth.
second.
Thank you, Mr. Caius. Moved in second. Bill?
Thank
You
you,
looked like
Jeff.
you had a click.
I did.
I was ready. that
Read
time.
my mind. Bill, just one question on that. I see where Benel was the lowest bidder on total net cost, but there was a trade-in amount. I take it Henderson didn't offer any trade-in.
Correct. They didn't offer a trade, so they weren't the low bidder. So
Right.
we just get rid of the old iron if we can. So
Great, thank you.
Makes for a cleaner deal if somebody will
Yeah,
get off your hands at the
Gosh,
same
yeah.
time. Yeah, yep. All right, any other questions, comments on big snow plows? No? You're up.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal, Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
Wouldn't be wintertime without some salt, right?
Yep, unfortunately, you need to use that. So we did our salt bid for the upcoming winter, so for fiscal year 2024. The townships also go in on this with us, so our total amount is including the townships. For us, our bid was for 8,000. Our average salt usage is right around 9,600 tons, 9,500 tons, but we'll be going into this winter with a pretty good supply on hand because of the mild winter we had this last winter. So we only need to do 8,000 tons, and we bid the dry salt and the treated salt. And if the treated salt comes in at a low enough price, we do not mix our own salt. So if the price is too high, like anything over $15 a ton upcharge, then we look at buying dry salt and treating ourselves. So staff is requesting committee approval for the salt.
All right. What do you think, Mo?
Leonard
All
moves.
right.
Caius, well, second
Moved by Leonard, second by Caius.
question. Or more of a comment, maybe. Of course, it always seems appropriate to talk about, especially when we're in other committees like the Energy Environment Committee, where we're now testing for salt residue in our shallow wells. And I guess just a reminder of what, maybe you could give me a reminder of what the KDOT is doing to appropriately limit and control just what we need to use without, I know there's a lot of villages and stuff involved in the same kind of thing, but I'd like to see make sure our policy is that we're not using as little salt as we can, so we don't end up paying for a cheap salt now and expensive water later.
Correct. So are you asking like some of the things we're doing?
Yes, sir, please.
Sure. So we're trying to adjust like levels of service. So one of the things is like roads with lower traffic counts. we are treating them at a different level of service. So say something far out west, we might leave it as with a little bit of snow cover or just wheel tracks versus Randall Road that has to have bare pavement. So that's one of our bigger things. Other thing is using different chemicals, trying to increase the residual to carry over into the next storm. And trying not to beat the storm, maintain during the storm. So the routes are not going to be perfect while it's snowing. We just try to keep them drivable. And we've removed 10 trucks from our plow routes over the last 15 years by making these adjustments. So less trucks equals less salt. So.
Great.
In
Thank
a
you, Mr.
nutshell.
Caius, and everyone. Thank you. This is Ms. Bates.
Morning, Mavis. I
Thank you.
figured you'd like that news. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bill.
that's good.
We still have to ask him to vote them.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Planning and
That's enough.
programming. Becky?
Good morning. Your report was in the packet today. I will give you a little highlight of our bicycle and pedestrian plan update. You will have a later item on this. We were looking to adopt our updated bicycle and pedestrian plan. Just as a reminder, haven't updated the plan since 2012. We started this last year in July. So we did this in, I wouldn't say record time, but we did do this as quickly as possible. We received federal funds to help pay for this update to the plan, and then the state kicked in the local match. So all we had to pay for was our bicycle and pedestrian map that we usually print, which I'm happy to announce we should have that maybe within the next month. We are moving forward with that. So exciting news. So I know you've all had a chance to read all 120 pages of the plan. But in a few minutes, I'll have some slides to highlight some things from the plan that I think are important for you to know before we move to adoption. For our ride and cane program, we're up to 50 registered riders. I'm happy to announce that the Village of Pingree Grove is now a sponsor, providing rides for their residents. And also the project that we're working on with the Veterans Assistance Commission did launch last week, where we are providing rides for veterans who participate in the Veterans Health Insurance Program to get to 4 different clinics in the area.
Excellent.
And that's all I have for my report.
All right.
Um,
You want to?
Just comment for the, thanks for all your
Yes.
work and on the bicycle plan too. We get into that a little later, I'm excited that we're getting more people in the rides. It still seems so minuscule. I mean, when you're looking at 50 compared to 315,000 people, I'm sure there's more need out there. So
Yes,
the
we.
outreach is really important.
Yes, we did go out for bid to hire a marketing firm to help us promote the ride and cane program. And I think the last bids were due Friday. So we'll be selecting a firm to move forward to try and help us market the program, get the word out, and we anticipate that will increase ridership.
Great.
We're at least planting the seeds.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow.
We got a few
Good.
little,
thing.
we must need more seeds or something.
Maybe.
I'm hardly related to anybody in the county and I still have more than.
10% of Europe, right?
And that is just the people who are sponsored by Kane County. We of course have many more people who are registered and riding every month.
Good clarification.
So we shake things up and have a motion in a second and then have her tell us about that. That's kind of how you're supposed to do it here. So
Roth will make a motion.
there you go. This will be for the IGA with the state of Illinois, phase 3 construction, moved by Mr. Roth, second by Mr. Ford.
Thank you. This is an agreement with the state to receive federal funding for the first of 3 different segments we're working on Plank Road. All 3 of them happen to have this Highway Safety Improvement Program or HSIP funding. So we recommend approval to move this forward.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Well, yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis.
Davis, yes.
Passes.
And now the fun Kane County Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, informally known as the Carl Ace Shadle Plan.
Do we need a motion a second? I would,
Yes,
move-
yes,
I
we
would
do.
move that. Yes, I would move that. Caius.
All right.
All
And now
right.
Glowing words from Jake.
Yes, as promised, our update
And
for our bicycle and pedestrian plan. I have a couple of slides here I wanted to go over. When we
Pictures.
started on this, we decided we wanted to do this plan a little bit differently than the traditional update to a plan, stakeholder engagement, but we thought we wanted to do some specific things like put together a plan that our communities could use so that if a municipality was interested in putting in some infrastructure, they could look at our plan. We have design guidelines in our plan for different types of roadways and different types of infrastructure that you can put in. We also did an equity analysis to take a look at if we did this, how would that affect the people who live around these different trails or potential trails that we want to put in. So we did several levels of analysis. We worked with Epstein to do the main part of the plan, but WSP was also a subcontractor on this who helped put together a lot of the modeling that we used. So I have a few slides I'm going to go through, but I kind of wanted to mention that this was something different. We are applying for an award for our plan because we do think it's different than any of the other ones that have been done by other communities around us. So we did come up with a vision for our plan. We have it here. I'm not going to read it to you, but in the picture, that's one of the design guidelines that we gave as an example. We took a real roadway that we have, I think this is on McDonald Road potentially, and showed what it could look like if we made some different improvements to it. So what we did was a lot of stakeholder engagement. We tried to do a little bit different things. You may have seen some signs around town back in the fall when we had a survey open. That's the sign on the right there. You can see that included a QR code that took you to a survey that we had. We had over 1,000 people respond to our survey. So we got a lot of input at the beginning of the plan. We put together a website. We created a brand and a logo so that anytime we did information or we shared out on social media, it all looked the same. So that was helpful. The survey, as I mentioned, was in the fall from September through the end of October. We did a number of public workshops and tabling events. We participated at the Fox Valley Marathon Expo, handed out information, asked people to take our survey, talk to folks. We participated in the Aurora Food Truck Festival in May and the Batavia Indoor Farmers Market in May as well. We also did a number of stakeholder interview meetings. These were specific to different groups. We reached out, we had a meeting just with bicycle shop owners. We had some with just park districts, forest preserves, some with just specific municipalities, large, small, and then we had separate ones for Aurora and Elgin since they're larger. So we really made sure that we talked to everyone. We took a look and saw if they had existing bike ped plans and made sure that we aligned. A couple of communities have also been updating their plan at the same time for bike peds. So we made sure again that we were taking the time to talk to them and incorporated everything into our plan. So what did we learn from these surveys and interviews that we did? We learned that trail connectivity is the main priority for staff that we talked to. Technical assistance was the best way for the Council of Mayors or KDOT to assist our communities. They don't know about all the different funding sources that are out there or when those calls are going to be. So they're looking to us to be experts and provide assistance. And also, as I mentioned, those design guidelines to help them. The wayfinding signage that we've done, we did a project on the Fox River Trail to kind of improve that. We're looking to maybe other places wanted to expand that and maybe look at it from an economic perspective, putting up signage that says, hey, we've got downtown right here, come and visit us. We've got shops and restaurants. E-bikes were the most popular bikes sold at local bike shops, which I thought was surprising that they actually have overtaken traditional pedal bikes. We wanted to create trail connections to the county's western communities. That was a critical need that we heard. And then the two-way bike lanes were the most popular answer when we asked folks for an expansion of innovative facility types, what they wanted. When we did those stakeholder meetings, we actually had a survey within there that we asked different questions. So that's what came out of that. So when I mentioned that equity assessment that we did, and I've got a series of slides here where the map is going to change on the right to show you what we saw. So right now, this is our existing conditions on the right with our bike ped facilities listed. And right now, currently 63,000 residents live in high poverty tracts. We also have 75,000, almost 76,000 residents in historically disadvantaged communities. That's a definition that the feds have put together, and we use that for different grants that we apply for. So it's important to know that information. And we've got 335,000 residents who are within a quarter mile of that bicycle facility that are there. And then we went to and proposed different facilities and saw how that would make an impact. So as you can see, there would be more residents from those high poverty tracts that would have access to these facilities, more in historically disadvantaged communities, more residents who have just one or no car, more who have low wage job locations, and then another 65,000 residents almost who would have access to a facility. And that quarter mile distance is kind of an industry standard when you talk about how far people live from a bicycle pedestrian facility. So that's why we're using it here. So now I'll go through these maps and show you. So this map shows you a quarter mile from all of our existing facilities right now. This shows you some of the proposed facilities that have added. So I'll go back so you can kind of see those green lines pop up there. And then finally, what it looks like with that quarter mile. So you can see that we'll now have more people who have access to those. And you're thinking a quarter mile is not that far, but as I mentioned, that's just kind of the industry standards. People will travel further to reach those facilities on there. So it's pretty exciting to be able to have this level of detail in our plan. And we have charts that show all of that within the plan itself. We also put together different types of funding. As I mentioned, we want to be able to give technical assistance to our community. So here's some different funding sources that are out there, and it kind of gives you what type of projects that you can use for that funding. So we can help folks with that. This is in the plan. Our plan also has the entire capital plan. So every facility that we are proposing, or almost every facility, I should say, actually has a cost around it. Because that's really important. If you're going for federal funding, you have to have an idea of how much this is even going to cost to your community to put it in and estimate how much money you're going to ask for. So we did that work for them and put together some estimated costs so that they'll be able to look at our plan and say, okay, this trail is going to cost this much. We're going to ask for this much. And then also I mentioned those design guides that we put together in here for different types of, this one happens to be for bicycle facilities, what you might have and different things that you could try and pictures. And there's actually some design pictures that are within the plan itself. And then also for pedestrians, what some things can look like. That shared street on the bottom, we do have a shared street in the county. The city of Batavia is River Street. It's a shared street, or they call it the VUNERF as well. You'll hear that. So I wanted to mention that. So all things that are contained in our plan. And that's all I have. So if I have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we request adoption of our plan.
Very nice. Thank you. Bill.
Thank you. Just one question. You know, I'm not a big bike rider. We have bikes, but you know, we ride around the neighborhood. That's about it. If a person would want to know where the trails are in relationship to where they live, say it's a quarter of a mile away, is there a program or any kind of software that would give the people access from, say, their home to the nearest bike path?
We do have a bicycle and pedestrian app available that we put together. There are links to it within the plan where it's a GIS base. So you can look and find your address and you can kind of see, I don't know if you can measure it. Google Maps does have a bicycle layer that you can pull up to and put in, and it might tell you how far away you are. You might be able to measure that distance, but the Bike Ped app will help you. It also gives you things like the rating of the roadway. That was something that we did do as part of this, is to say, is this really a road that person who's not comfortable with riding on a road will do? So that will be in the app. And then also the type of surface that is it a crushed limestone? Is it paved? Is it just a sharrow? What kind of those things? So that's where I would point somebody.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I looked at on page 103 of your presentation where it shows the completed and the recommended yet to be completed paths. And I know it's like, as an example, I live in Sugar Grove. If I want to ride my bike up to Geneva, there are some gaps in there. So how do you handle those gaps?
We try and identify them for the plan. So if there's ones that are still a gap there could be some reason why we didn't have a recommendation, or maybe we had a different, more roundabout way to make that connection. There are places where you think there's a gap, and because it's logical, like distance wise as the crow flies, but we may have made a different recommendation because it might be safer for you to use a different path that's kind of a little more out of your way, but
So you do have recommendations in the gaps on how to, because, you know, for people that don't ride a lot, like myself, if you get out on a path and then you get to an area, you go, now do I go up Bliss Road or do I get over whatever? So the recommendations would be great. And how do people go about finding that out? Do they contact the Department of Transportation or?
yeah, we're in the process of hiring another bicycle and pedestrian coordinator. So they could reach out to that person. They could try our bike app, and absolutely calling us or emailing us. We'll be happy to help people plan that.
You know, I think it'd be great, and I'm sorry to belabor the point, but if you had something in Kane County Connects about it,
Mhm.
maybe on a
Yes.
monthly basis saying, okay, here's a gap for people driving from X to Y
Mhm.
and ways to get around it. Because people that don't ride a lot don't know where to go or what to look for.
That's a good idea. Places that we know we have high ridership and maybe there is some sort of gap or uncertainty about how to go, that we could highlight that. And Connects is a great way to get that word out because we have a lot of people who rely on that.
Much.
And you've indicated that we actually have an app that people can download to do this. So there,
Yeah. Not a lot of people know about that. We're
Maybe
trying to.
maybe that's where the message starts is,
Mhm.
shout from the hilltops about the app itself,
Mhm.
which will get them
Yeah.
a ton of the information that you're talking about, Bill.
There's going to be some updated information on our app once we get through this process of updating the plan, because the consultant's providing us with those layers. So it's going to be a little quiet right now until we get those layers updated, and then we'll definitely let everyone know that they can use that.
These longer routes, I understand why e-bikes are becoming more and more popular.
I'm in,
Yes,
I'm in the
Chris.
market. I understand why they're more, or more. This is great. This is so extensive. I started reading it this weekend and it's just a lot of stuff. Yeah.
We're
A lot
proud
really
of it.
good
yeah.
stuff. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was looking at, Bill, on page 103, that's figure 1.6 is 2012 plan facility recommendations. Is that the one that is? There-
Yeah, if it was from 2012 is what we were saying we were going to do back then, just so we had that to be able
Great
to say we're
comparison. Which
looking
map
back.
would you compare this to then to say, wow, here's where we're at?
I believe it's at the beginning of chapter 6 is the capital plan, and I think there's a map there. Apologize, I don't have that map in front of me, but I can.
I get lost and there's so many pages here, but
Yeah.
I just.
I
was-
kind of know the
Oh,
chapter
I want to
numbers.
compare
more
because
than
I
know
was looking at
pages.
it, it's like, I know we've done better than that. I think you look at that one, you were looking.
Yes.
Yeah, there's, yeah,
I would
The
say-
a lot of gaps.
2012
Well,
for
yeah.
historical purposes,
Yeah.
it's like, here's where we were
Oh.
then or wanted to be then.
Yeah,
Yeah, we wanted to say, what did we say we were going to do back in 2012? And then what did we actually
and
do?
we've done it and we've
Mhm,
done
we've done
way
quite a bit.
more. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's very exciting what's been accomplished. I was going to page, I had a couple of questions, on page, well, let's go back to 91, maybe page 91. And some of that, now this is the stuff that's on our, is this plan the same as what we'd see on the website? I went back and forth and tried to find pages between the two on the KDOT website, because if you go to the main page and say, what are we doing, and go into that, you can go to the bicycle plan. Is that an updated plan on the website?
That's the old plan.
That's the
So
old
The new one won't be there until it's all the way
I
through.
thought it was
this
me. Boy,
process.
so-
Yeah, that's the old plan on
Find
there.
any of the pages. Okay, so once this is all approved and everything, we'll get the new plan up there.
Yeah.
Great.
You should download the app.
Yeah, well, I'll get to it. Well, is the app I didn't see the app on the website, on web.
If you go on our website and choose either resources info, and then there's bicycle and pedestrian resources. If you click on that page and you scroll
Resources.
down, you'll see the Kane Kendall Council of Mayors Bicycle and Pedestrian app. Or if you click on the picture, there it's got a bicycle and facility surface type and facility type. If you click on that, it has the different things. So it will look a little different than it looks right now because we're going to be updating it, and
Yeah.
our new bike ped person will probably make these changes. So
A lot of good reading material in there.
And once those updates are in, then maybe a little higher profile spot for, here's the app.
Yeah.
Get this app.
actually, it might even be on our homepage for KDOT. Let me look real quick. Yeah, it's one of the pictures over on the right, so that will be all updated. And yeah, we'll shout from the hilltops.
Mr. Chairman, Board, just a question. This is great. This is really awesome. And just like I said last month, that we do a lot when it come to, I know we're waiting for these other stages for our economic development initiative. This is already there. I just want to make that statement. And then the other one is our pedestrian bridges. Where are we at? Where are we at? And as far as a need, and then also as far as a maintenance program for them. What do we actually do?
For the ones that are existing now.
And are we in need of more?
We do have a few recommendations in the plan that we had added. I know the city of Batavia asked us to put one on Randall Road near Main Street. So Main Street to go over Randall Road. There's also an area, it's not under our jurisdiction, but on Route 56 out west where it crosses the Illinois Prairie Path. Long time, we've been getting a lot of people asking us for improvements there. So we did put that in there, and I can't remember if we might have one or two other ones in the
Did
plan.
East Dundee contact you about going over 72 on the path there?
I don't remember if they did, sorry.
72 was mentioned there in East Dundee. That'd be a tough one, but
Yeah, they're expensive, and to design them is tricky, but we've done it. We have one, I think of the one at Randall's Silver Glen, it's an
Real-
example, so.
real popular
Mhm.
trail.
And whenever we do something like that, we would look at incorporating the maintenance cost into that bridge. And I don't know, it's out of my world, but I believe we do inspections of our current bridges and make sure we do maintenance on those as well. But we don't have a lot that are under KDOT jurisdiction, but I know our partners do.
And then one more thing, just to bring up,
Go ahead.
if you
You
don't
guys are all
mind.
ginned up on biking and riding and walking now, but that's good. Good for you.
Okay. I guess now in the rural, we have a couple of things that are coming up. One is the casino's gonna move. So we got that whole thing to hopefully work out. And then now, I love the outdoor pavilion that we have in the rural for concerts and events. But they seem to have to shut down the bike path for the event.
And they do-
So there's something that needs to be addressed there that always bothers me, that if somebody wants to,
Brand new bridge.
no, there's no, it'd be north of the bridge, just north of the bridge. So they seem to shut down the bike path.
Have an event and then have to shut down the path.
Yeah,
which
that's-
discourages them from getting there by using the path.
Exactly.
Okay, well,
So that's something that needs to be worked out. And I don't know if it's being ignored now or whatever, but
That's on the east side of the river.
yes,
That's a city path there.
yes.
All the problem.
all right, good point. Mr. Roth?
I'm Roth here. Have you been approached by the city of Batavia, the accident recently on 31 with the Forest Reserve? I know it's a state road.
Yes, yeah, they have been in contact with us. They do have some funding for the road diet that they are working through right now. And I know they've been asking IDOT to try and accelerate that. And we've been, anything we can do to assist with that, we are representing them with IDOT and trying to help.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Mr. Cash?
Yes. Good points on that. Page 136. I think that's the one I have here. Can't see when I'm scrolling, it scrolls right past it. Page 136 has the bicycle pedestrian crashes overview. And I'm a little concerned about the interpretation of a bicycle crash because I've fallen off my bike and that I would consider a crash. But this is what we're talking about in this whole section of crashes is actually a pedestrian or bicycle vehicle interaction. Is that correct? I mean, that's kind of a sanitized thing. It's not just a crash. It
Correct.
involves a vehicle.
I believe, yes, it had to have a crash report to be tracked.
Yeah, I wonder if that couldn't be a little clearer just for me, because
Mhm.
or I guess it wouldn't be clear to other people because maybe it wasn't as clear to me as I was expecting crash. Because that could be like a
Yeah.
crack in the sidewalk and people are falling down or,
Yeah, I'll
something
take a look at that.
yeah,
So it's
I-
supposed to be a reference to bicycle versus car kind of thing.
car or any
That-
kind of vehicle,
that-
yeah. But not
Oops, I
just,
wiped out.
yeah, crash, like you ran into a pole or something like that. And that's on page 136. On page,
distinction.
oh,
No, I said that's a fair distinction to be
yeah,
made. So that
I don't know if
people
there's any
understand.
other
Okay.
questions about that or not.
Great.
And then on another topic, if you don't mind, in page 91, I think I referred to it a little earlier. Of course, then I scrolled away from it. It has to do with the proposed policies, which I think is very exciting because that leads us, when we do this plan, this is something we want to say, wow, here's what we've done, here's where we're at. Now, here's where we're going to go, and this is how we propose to do it. And in item 2, their KDOT policy proposals. Of course, number 1 is great, Vision Zero, like eliminate all fatalities, accidents and everything. And then the complete streets policy next, the internal memorandum formalizing KDOT's commitment to complete street strategies. And I think that's great to have the formalized memorandum, but is there a way, I think we should be looking at how can we implement that to, so that when the people are putting in new developments and things like that, that they have to have access like that quarter mile, quarter mile on one of these side streets, great, quarter mile on 72. That's a long ways, because I did that a lot. How can we as a committee, or how you can get us to help bring this to some sort of a actionable, the memorandum's great. This is what we want to do. How do we put that into action? Let's have these in a positive way, if we can do it a positive way.
Yeah, start by turning to your left and talking to the development committee chair.
That's what, he's up next.
Yes.
So just because I know this is something I think that we should be reaching for. And of course, I'm just saying, I'm just a board member, but I know staff can get stuff done. I can't get crap done, but staff is great. So
Yeah, we do
Thanks.
everything we can at KDOT to try and include those, whether it's when we're designing our projects, we include those bike ped elements. Now we'll be able to look at our plan. We encourage our municipalities to look at our policies in here. We have draft policies that anyone can use to continue to move that forward. So when they have their own development, they ask the developer to put in that bike path in front of their new
Are we working on our
development.
2060 plan yet?
very exciting that we're working. I think
Right,
that's
we're gonna have that.
absolutely, not be an island, not KDOT, but be involved with, the Kane Kendall County mayors and
Yeah.
everybody else, because I'm sure that's where a lot of input starts.
Yeah, looking at things like you said, the council mayors.
22 plan.
Well, let's get 20, what was this, 2040? Let's get 2040 out because we haven't even voted for it. It's just up for vote, but
All
you
right.
bet.
As the,
I think that was
as the
it.
bicycle excitement wanes now, we'll, all right, okay.
Well, I'll have more reading unfortunately. I apologize for not,
All right.
but these are some points I think are,
Burn your helmet
it's
when you go out.
it's so exciting.
Be safe.
I want to dig into each one of these sections. They're so exciting.
Yeah.
And there's so much information just in the proposed policies. I mean,
See what you've done, Jackie? You really got them worked up.
just to do
Yes.
that.
Think of it as a tool
But-
that people can use instead of it sitting
think-
on the shelf.
I think the county should buy all the board members e-bikes so we can test them out.
I want you to show your enthusiasm with a vote.
Okay, yes, sir.
All
Get
them out.
this thing over with.
I can't remember. Do we have a motion?
We do, yeah.
Yes, I moved it. Yes.
Got it
right.
yesterday, I think.
It's very exciting.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
I was enthusiastic, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth, Ford, Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
I know.
All right.
My experience.
How you're gonna follow this, Kurt, but let's talk permitting.
Good morning. Good morning. Included in your packet is the traditional permit report for ongoing review of issuance and reviewed permits and construction activities. So see me or Doris Hohertz, the Chief of Permitting, for any questions on that. I would just add to that, as of last week, June 12th, the permit section has some exciting news in that we've gone live with a new permit software. So we are working through some of those hiccups with transitioning to a new permit software like this. But it has many benefits that we're already seeing with respect to coordination with applicants and being able to upload documents via an online portal. So efficiencies brought to bear for permits that we review and issue, not just for KDOT staff, but for the applicants as well. So you'll see some slightly different reports in the next month's committee permit report. But just wanted to let the committee know that that stuff is happening in the permit section.
Up and running and gonna be good for applicants and for internal processing.
Yes.
All right, excellent. How about Fabian Parkway and Kirk Road? You want to tell us about that?
Yes, this is a discussion only item. Staff has been reviewing. Thank you. Staff has been reviewing a site development plan on the east side of Fabian Parkway, just north of east side of Kirk Road, just north of Fabian Parkway, for a warehouse distribution facility. It's on the monitor there and also in your packet. The site is proposed to show access to Kirk Road opposite the ice arena access. We've been in some discussions with the would-be applicant for this site, showing full channelization, meaning widening of Kirk Road for turn lanes, as well as traffic signals at this site, which would benefit the ice arena access and the east side, the proposed access. We felt at this point that having moved through some of the very preliminary concept plans and reviews, that at this point, we're ready to bring it to the committee for an initial look. We don't foresee any fatal flaws here, but Kirk Road is a limited access freeway. And so ultimately we need the county board to approve that access. So recommended next step would be to get your input, your feedback on this concept. And you know, if agreeable, then we would work with the city of Geneva on an intergovernmental agreement that would be a framework for that access approval.
Just south of there is the Country House Restaurant, is that right? As you're going along.
That's right.
And they don't have access onto Kirk. So this would be the nearest access point from
It's just north of
north of
Fabian,
the intersection. Okay.
not the hard corner on that northeast corner.
Okay.
Would this be access for that restaurant then? And those businesses on the south side, they would just be into the industrial?
Whether they would play nice with one another, you know, at the with the parking lot connection or something, I don't know. That's sometimes you see it, sometimes not.
I've been talking about the Kirk Road access at the ice arena, because that's the main purpose here. You will note on the site plan there that access is also from Fabian Parkway at Dawn Boulevard. That's a platted street. That was the subject of in the distant past, an approval by the county board for an access point there. So that Fabian Parkway is also a limited access freeway, but that's been largely dealt with. I think my suggestion would be the IGA would focus on the Kirk Road access, but also include some mention of the Fabian Parkway access just for completeness.
All right. Thank you for the heads up. Any other questions? Nope. All right. Moving on to traffic operations, Stephen.
Good morning. Traffic operations, the report is in your packet. A couple items I wanted to mention on here deals with a couple of items towards the bottom of my report for ongoing routine activities. Back in October of 2022, the county board had approved a electrical maintenance contract with H&H Electric, essentially serving as a routine and emergency response electrician contractor force to help provide routine inspections and emergency repair. As part of that contract, it did include scopes of work for providing preventative maintenance activities for various locations throughout the county. Those activities include changing out what I might call traffic signal light bulbs, but more technically, they're called LED modules. I've included an exhibit within the following pages of the report. It's up on the screen now. Essentially, when you see from the roadside, red, yellow, green, each of those little indications have a kind of door that opens up. And when that door opens up, there's a little module disc type piece of material that is the light bulb essentially. And those are replaced at all the locations shown on the table. We try to get ahead of what we understand to be materials which decay or can fail over time. And it's a cost benefit program so that we can take care of maintenance issues ahead of time by taking care of all locations at a pre-scheduled rate. We also have a second page in the packet which outlines batteries. One of the services our traffic signals includes is a side mount cabinet. Jackie, if you could change the next page. There's these big metal boxes on the side of the road that are our traffic signal cabinets. And one of the important features as part of those cabinets is something called a UPS, or an uninterruptible power supply. And that provides power when, say, ComEd or a local utility service no longer provides power, say during a storm. There are batteries that are routinely topped off and will kick into service whenever the utility is no longer functioning. But just like any type of battery, those can fail over time. And we want to get ahead of that so that the performance and reliability remains there when we need them to be. And those locations are also shown in the table. One of the things I'd mentioned on these exhibits was that the cumulative cost of these two programs shown in these exhibits is roughly around $240,000. We had also completed the first of 3-year program for an LED retrofit program where all of the locations which have street lighting within the county, we have about 1,300 to 1,400 locations. Over 3 years, we're trying to retrofit older technology into a newer technology of LED to help illuminate the roadways. And year 1 has been completed, roughly encompassing the northernmost part of Kane County from roughly Randall and US 20 up to county line, the northern county line. And with that, that concludes my report. If there's any questions.
Doherty.
Oh,
Doherty first.
go ahead, Mr. Doherty.
Yeah, I'm looking at your chart and you got battery replacements from 2012 all the way through 2018. So what's the real life of it? I mean, why are we, if they've lasted 11 years from 2012, why are we replacing the 2018 batteries also?
So with regard to the year by which these batteries are being replaced, I would say that we are delayed at some of these locations. I think more of the older locations are at some of the state highways, to which IDOT, we provide maintenance services under an agreement for some locations that intersect with a Illinois DOT highway. And the state of Illinois were preferable to the county providing that maintenance program as opposed to their forces doing that program. But with regard to trying to use an older battery, we're asking ourselves as whether or not the level of service of a battery is reasonable. You could probably imagine from time to time when there's construction or power outages, a traffic signal which is completely dark can be a quite large safety issue. And while a lot of times brownouts and outages can be only seconds at a time, there are times when outages are for several hours. And what these batteries do, it's a kind of insurance policy so that when these batteries are needed and they're needed for extended durations of time, you can't reliably expect that these batteries will provide our traffic signals colorized operation, green, yellow, red, for extended outages. And this is what provides a kind of safety benefit to make sure that these traffic signals will run the way they're supposed to, even when power is not available, at least for what's designed is typically 8 hours or longer when these are well maintained. It could be as short as 5 or less minutes if you're using batteries from, say, 10 or more years old.
Okay, so the question is, if the 2011s have been okay for 11 years, 12 years, then why are we replacing the 2018s if they're only 4 or 5 years old?
It goes to that question as to what level of service that we would recommend its staff to have available at these locations. So those locations which are so old,
What's the
we would,
recommended level?
go ahead.
What's the recommended level?
So in the distributorships and the consultants that help advise what's expected and is proper for a routine maintenance program of these batteries, they typically can't come with 5 or 6 years of warranty. They're not much different than an automotive battery that you might have in your vehicle, except there's 4 of them strung into a series. So your car battery might last more than 5 or 6 years. However, when you start looking at failures systematically throughout all the county, just like with the LED signal modules, it's most cost benefit to deal with the understanding that these will fail at a certain point. And as opposed to just having a maintainers run out there whenever there's an issue, we would not want to be doing those failure repairs while the traffic signals are dark or unable to provide their primary function. So getting ahead of that understood life cycle is a worthwhile program to maintain, in my opinion.
Gary, I think what I'm hearing is that we're grateful for the ones that have lasted longer from 2011 and 12, and we're getting to them before anything catastrophic happened. But that I think staff is more comfortable with the idea of not waiting that long and erring on the side of safety. So the 2018s are being addressed as well now. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so this is all of them then. Is there more?
Oh, is this the whole list for right now?
For this year, every
this
year, we do a batch of roughly about 20 or so locations for batteries.
And probably as we look at future years and future lists, we can anticipate that it'll be more like a 5-year kind, that we won't see
Correct.
dates on here that go back as far as we see on this one.
Correct. And there's technology that helps to regulate, say, on an electrical properties level as to how to elongate the life of these batteries and replace them more data driven. But that technology is not quite available at all of the locations and would cost more money than providing the maintenance program. But we'll continue to be educated as to best practices. Right now, this is the best policy for having that program.
Gary, does that answer your question?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman Ford.
Hold on just a second. I think
My
Mr. Roth got-
question got answered pretty much.
Yours got
Gary
answered,
asked
and that's
the
okay.
exact same.
Mr. Ford.
What do we do with the old batteries?
So as part of the requirements through H&H Electric, there are contractors performing the work. We do require that they are responsibly recycled. So my understanding is that we'll provide some type of documentation from our contractor that they're being responsibly recycled.
All right. Anybody else? Anything? Thank you. Jennifer, project implementation.
Morning. Our construction projects are taking advantage of the relatively dry weather we've had this spring to kickstart our 2023 construction season. They've already completed the 71 ADA ramps for our ADA ramp improvement project, and they've also completed the Harder Road drainage improvement project. On the design side, we've negotiated a Phase 1 engineering agreement for the Tyrrell Road corridor and also for the Fabian Parkway corridor improvements for your consideration later on in the agenda. And we're actively negotiating a Phase 2 engineering agreement for the Randall at Hops intersection that we'll bring for your consideration next month. Those are the highlights for the IMP report this month. We can move on to construction photos unless there are questions.
Bring on the photos.
These photos were taken at the Bliss Main Fabian intersection realignment project and show site work excavation and storm sewer installation. This slide shows pavement striping on our 2023 ADA ramp replacement program. Here we see crews framing and pouring the wing walls for one of the culverts at the Harmony Road Culvert Replacement Project site. This slide shows photos of the Orchard Road at US 30 intersection improvement project. Crews still have some signal work, final pavement and punch list items at this project site. And this final slide shows crews finishing up last year's asphalt paving contract with curb and gutter replacement and resurfacing on Huntley Road.
Occasionally we'll, we'll have a resolution that talks about a culvert and the dollar figure is very large. And I think many of us think about a culvert that goes under the end of our driveway. So the photos back here where they're showing you them framing and pouring the wing walls for culvert gives you some idea of the difference in scope of a culvert that we're talking about here, which is perhaps helpful for everyone. Okay, all right. Let's move on to our resolutions. I got a motion and a second for approving a contract with Plody Construction for the Orchard Road PCC and sign repair.
Roth will make a motion.
Roth moves. Ford seconds.
Last month, 4 bids were opened at KDOT for the Orchard Road PCC and sign repair project, which will address curb and pavement repair areas along Orchard Road to improve pavement drainage and to increase safety. The work will include new curb and gutter, crack filling, as well as areas of new PCC patching, sign replacement, restoration, and landscaping. The lowest qualified bid of $836,298 and change was submitted by Plody Construction of Hoffman Estates. Staff recommends approval.
Questions, comments?
Just one.
Bill.
Yes, Jennifer, I've got a question for you. On the actual resolution, I see the amount, I have no problem with that. But it says, was this item budgeted? It says not applicable. I was wondering if you could explain that, because the other ones are usually budgeted.
Yeah, we're sharing the cost of this repair. I believe we have an IGA with the city of Aurora to maintain this road. And it came to our attention that it was not at the level of maintenance that KDOT would expect. So we contacted the city of Aurora and negotiated a cost share on this improvement. And so we are paying for a portion of the maintenance to bring the road up to an acceptable level. And the city of Aurora is also paying a portion. And we have revised our IGA with them and they'll continue maintaining the road moving forward.
Thank you. Could you give me an idea on the portion that the city's paying and what we're paying?
Do you remember, Mike? Is it 50-50?
Yeah, the IGA's call for 50-50.
Okay, great.
The IGA does.
So of that 836, we're only spending out of our Fund 305, half of that.
We're gonna be spending slightly more.
Okay,
There's some other stuff we're taking care of, but the existing IGA does show a 50-50 split.
great.
50-50 split of the 836 number,
Yeah, and then there are some additional charges.
but with some additional.
It'll work out to be slightly less than 50-50 split, but the IGA calls for 50-50. We're picking up some additional things in here.
Okay.
But yeah, and this will clean things up going forward.
Right.
All right. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Price, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Already yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
Thank you. All right, next, Look for a motion and a second to approve Phase One engineering services with Crawford, Murphy and Tilly for the Tyrell Road corridor improvements from Raymond Road to Mason Road.
Leonard moves.
Moved by Mr. Leonard. Second by Mr. Iqbal.
Due to increasing traffic and safety concerns, future improvements are necessary to Tyrrell Road and Gilbert's. Staff recently completed qualifications-based selection process and chose Crawford, Murphy and Tilly, Inc., or CMT, for Phase 1 and 2 engineering services. The negotiated Phase 1 engineering and environmental study will include corridor improvements for approximately 1.2 miles along Tyrrell Road from Raymond Road to Mason Drive. Staff recommends approval of a locally funded engineering agreement with CMT for Phase 1 engineering services in an amount not to exceed $623,711.
Any questions?
Doherty.
Oh, Mr. Doherty?
Yeah, the whole time I've lived here, we've been calling it Tyrell. Is it Terrell Road?
We were just having that discussion up here at the table. Dealer's choice. I don't know. You can.
I always
don't
called
have a
it
definitive
Tyrell as
answer for
well,
you
and
on
I
that
was
one, so.
recently corrected by Tom Rickert. So I'm moving forward with the Tyrrell.
Tomato, tomato,
All
you know.
right, what, Tom, what, make your case. What is?
Tyrrell.
Tyrrell?
Thank you.
They're local farmer that originally owned the property that, you have this on some good, solid,
Yes.
All right. So from here on out, we'll try to go with Tyrrell. All right. And now we can vote.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Ford,
Doherty.
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
Since I made a reference to farmers, Mike, I should have asked you, which way do you say it?
I don't know.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Next
Before my
resolution is approving Phase One engineering services, Phase One engineering service agreement with HR Green for the Fabian Parkway corridor improvements from Route 31 to Route 25. A motion and a second.
Leonard moves.
Mr. Leonard moves. Mr. Ford seconds.
KDOT staff completed the consultant selection process for the Fabian Parkway at Illinois Route 31 intersection in 2019 and chose HR Green for engineering design services. HR Green recently successfully completed the PEL, or Planning and Environmental Linkages Study. A PEL study is very similar to a feasibility study. HR Green has built trust with a very well-executed PEL project. As such, staff has chosen to continue to move this project forward into a Phase 1 engineering study with the successful project team. During the course of the PEL study, it was discovered that the alternatives for improvement of this intersection would impact the future design of the Fabian Parkway Bridge over the Fox River and subsequently the intersection of Illinois Route 25. Staff has negotiated a Phase 1 engineering study with HR Green for corridor improvements along Fabian Parkway from Illinois Route 31 to Illinois Route 25 to address the safety concerns and increasing traffic on this highly visible and traveled corridor. Staff recommends approval of a locally funded agreement with HR Green for Phase 1 engineering services in an amount not to exceed $2,128,471.
Thank you. Anybody that's driven this area knows that there's a little kink in the, it's really pay attention to stay in your lane as you traverse this area. So hopefully, we can make some changes that'll help.
And
That-
luckily, it's a
That's
low.
2 million
speed.
for the study, not for the improvement, right?
And anytime you do something near a bridge, price goes up.
That's the first.
It's a bridge, yeah. Don't anybody say toll.
There's no toll.
They're gonna look to see if there's room for a Caius toll booth at one side or the other of the bridge.
It's not a toll.
Oh, Madam Chair. No, I'm just kidding. There's no toll involved.
My comments on that, because that's my.
Please.
Well,
Join us.
if it has to do with Fabian Parkway.
That is my neighborhood right there.
Oh,
And take that every day, several times a day. So the question I have with the study is that IDOT is going to start talking about doing a shrinkage road, making the road smaller. So it's a 3-lane road from 31 from past Wilson up to Fabian. Is this going to be, and then of course, Geneva already has that shrinkage. Is that going to be considered in this study?
Yes, we closely coordinate with IDOT on all of our projects, especially this large project intersecting with their roadway. And the timing of our project will, of course, coordinate with the timing of their projects as well. They'll approve our design before we're able to move forward.
Okay, very good. Excellent. That's very good to hear. Appreciate that. Because it is, it's a challenging intersection at best.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford.
Doherty,
Mr. Doherty,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
All right. Next, approving Phase 2 engineering services agreement with Michael Baker International for the 2020 structural services project. Like a
In
motion
May
and
of
a second.
2020, the county board approved a contract with Michael Baker International to design repairs to 17 separate KDOT structures to be bid in 2 separate contract packages. After the engineering work was underway, staff and the design consultant determined that 3 separate bid packages allowed for better grouping of the maintenance due to environmental permitting and other scheduling impacts. One package has been bid and constructed. Of the remaining structures, staff and the consultant agreed that additional repairs beyond the scope were necessary. And since the initial agreement expired in April of 2023, a new engineering agreement was negotiated to compensate Michael Baker for these additional Phase 2 design engineering services, as well as additional project time at a fee of $78,635. Staff recommends approval.
Leonard moves.
Bill?
Roth will second.
Second by Roth. Questions or comments? Hearing none.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford. Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
Next two are authorizing acquisition of real property, first Kirk Road over Union Pacific Railroad. And the second one is for Plank Road improvements from Engle Road to, oh boy, Wogan? Juan? Sure. Okay.
Right of way is.
Juan Road.
Yeah, right of way is required as described in the attached legal descriptions to complete the Kirk Road over UPRR Bridge Replacement Project. KDOT continues to actively negotiate with the property owners. However, should negotiations stall out, the board's approval of this resolution will allow KDOT to pursue the condemnation process by eminent domain. The attached standard project right-of-way resolution authorizes the county to acquire the properties through negotiation and purchase or negotiation and condemnation. Staff recommends approval.
Doherty.
Go ahead, Mr. Doherty.
Is there a status on the negotiation? Are they amicable? Are we getting somewhere?
We've been actively negotiating for about 8 months now. We're very far along on some of the parcels required, and we're yet to hear back from the property owners on other parcels.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Doherty, was that it?
Yeah, okay, I got it.
You get, okay, all right. Motion and a second for the first one, please.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Caius was second.
Mr. Caius seconds. Any other questions on Alan? Let's call the roll.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford. Oh. Doherty. Doherty,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Passes.
Now, Juan Road.
I'm sorry, may I ask a question?
Oh, yes, of course.
Regarding that last resolution, obviously there's going to be a bridge that's going to be, where's the bridge going to start from?
It's currently an 18-span bridge, this Kirk Road Bridge over the UPRR, also Reed Road Private Drive, and there is a waterway also under the bridge called White's Creek. The new design will turn that 18-span bridge into 3 single-span bridges. So we'll build walls alongside the new bridge and fill it in underneath so that in the future, KDOT will have 3 single-span bridges to maintain rather than a very large 18-span bridge to maintain.
And the cost estimated?
The estimated cost is $30 million approximately at this stage. We do have STP funds for the bridge, so federally funded at 80%.
Good.
There's your toll, guys.
No, that.
A toll is
that's-
proposed.
No toll, no toll.
Darn. The, but they're, continue, this is Caius, just the point of fact, driving that quite a bit. They're working on that bridge all the time, like every other year.
We are
So-
consistently
So it's
putting a lot of money toward maintenance on that
just
bridge,
just the upkeep on that.
as it is in poor condition, exactly.
On to the next one. What's about the Engle Road to Juan Road?
Right-of-way is also required as described in the attached legal descriptions to complete Plank Road angle to Juan. The attached standard project right-of-way resolution authorizes the county to acquire the properties through negotiation and purchase or negotiation and condemnation. Staff recommends approval.
Leonard moves.
So Leonard moves, Mr. Ford seconds. Questions, comments? We're trying again.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Nice, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Or yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
passes.
We are going to have an executive session, but let's take care of motion to put reports
I
on
would add,
file.
Ms. Caius, I would ask that we put the reports on file without objection. Unanimously,
Already forgotten the,
whatever it is. Make it so.
yeah, it's like that, but it was different. It was like as ordered or Ken still on there? What's the appropriate response?
No objection.
No objections.
With no objections as ordered. All right, good deal. Tom will help with we're gonna need a motion to go into executive session
For land acquisition purposes.
to discuss land acquisition. All right,
Caius would move that we go into executive session to discuss land acquisition.
Leonard seconds.
roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Ford, Doherty,
Or yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
approved.
All right, everybody online that will be joining us in the closed session, please accept the invite that you will be getting on your screen. Be aware we are live streaming, so until I give you the okay, anything you say will be going out live to the public. I'll let you know when we're back together here.
It's very chatty. Oh, man.
As a reminder to those in the room, you also must accept your invite.
Chatty.
Tom's gonna do it? All right.
The bike plan, number one.
That was fine.
All good comments, by the way.
There's the recommended safety that you should do riding your bike.
Intersection of Union and 31, just one block from my house.
Yes.
I want.
We're still missing a couple of folks to join the closed session. We can't go into closed session until I get everybody into the room.
Bike or
It's fine like that, but
That,
so
we
you can
have
go,
signs
so you can
now.
go fast. Get a picture.
I'm still missing one individual has not joined the closed session.
pass and cars like.
Earl
like
writes
around
all
five.
No, doesn't he, doesn't
I
it,
gotta get to it right.
doesn't,
Is down, by the park, which is that intersection right there. You know, have you ever been to the park?
Oh, okay. No, right.
Yeah, it's beautiful. spot. I only know the part. that got out.
development, some voter integrity.
There's our. Isabella. Yeah, yeah. She cries. They won't listen to me. Yeah. Get on my case. That missile.
All right, you are in open session.
Call them out for me once, so we say we're officially here.
Berman, Iqbal, Caius,
Highest present.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Roth,
Roth here.
Ford, Doherty,
Yes.
Davist.
Davist here.
You have a quorum in the room?
All right. Back in business. Let me just direct staff that after our discussion with consensus of the committee to move forward on the land acquisition issue that was before us.
To the
or
executive.
Presented to us, and it will go from here directly to executive committee. Anybody have any new business for the good of the order? In that case, one more, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Vice would move to adjourn.
Vice moves,
Roth seconds.
Roth seconds, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.